So the hearing for the Oregon Rental Home Heat Pump Program will begin in a few minutes. The hearing for the Community Heat Pump Deployment Program concluded just about 15 minutes ago. In a moment, we will introduce staff from the Oregon Department of Energy and ask participants to introduce themselves in the chat and state whether they wish to offer comments during this hearing. For those joining via phone, I will ask you to be unmuted, and you may then introduce yourselves and state whether you wish to offer comments during the hearing as well. We'll also offer the opportunity for attendees to ask clarifying procedural questions after taking testimony. Hello, my name is James Kogel from the Oregon Department of Energy. I will be the hearing officer for today's proceedings. We want to thank you all for participating today. Staff introduce themselves. Could participants please introduce themselves in the chat? Ask you to please state your name, any affiliated organization, and please state whether you wish to offer comments later in this hearing. So I'll start with Pandian. Do you mind introducing yourself, please?
Thanks, James. I'm Pandian Krishnaswamy. I'm managing both heat pump programs. Welcome to the rules hearing.
Stephanie?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Stephanie Cruz, a facilities engineer with Oregon Department of Energy, and I am providing technical support to our rulemaking and to these two programs.
Ruchi?
Hi there, Ruchi Sudhir, Associate Director for Strategic Engagement. Thanks for being here today.
Patricia?
Patricia Phillips, I'm here to help you with your with the running of the WebEx. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and put it in the chat. Thank you.
Doug?
Hello, Douglas Baer, Senior Incentives Analyst in the Wildfire Rebuilding Program.
Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Bajevitz. I am one of the incentives analysts for both heat pump programs.
And Kayla?
Hi, I'm Kayla Barboza, and I'm the other incentive analyst. Sorry about this.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to check. So while everybody is introducing themselves in the chat and stating whether they want to provide testimony, should we have a call user 7? And do you mind taking them off mute? Just give them the opportunity if they. So the person on the phone, call user 7, we have down. If you wish to introduce themselves, you're welcome to.
My name is Julie Williams in Benton County.
Okay. Do you wish to provide testimony today?
I do not.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So we will start with a brief summary of the proposed rules before discussing the procedures for the hearing and entering the testimony stage of the hearing. Materials for today's hearing, including draft rules, are located on the Oregon Department of Energy's website, oregon.gov/energy. A few words about using WebEx. For those of you who are new to the platform, you can use the raise hand function to ask a question and use the chat function to type questions. For those on the phone, you can use *3 to raise your hand. You can then also use *3 to lower your hand afterwards. Does anybody have any questions about using WebEx before we begin? Okay. So this hearing is being recorded to maintain a permanent record. Today is January 5th, 2023. The time is approximately 3:07. The public hearing is being held online and all attendees are participating remotely. And this is the time and date set for a public hearing. The purpose is to take comments on proposed permanent rules, which would establish the Oregon Rental Home Heat Pump Program. The final caption for this rulemaking is Rebate and Grant Program for the purchase and installation of heat pumps in rental homes. Following the heat dome event in 2021, Oregon legislators passed Senate Bill 1536 in 2022. This bill had a number of components, and one of which was the Oregon Rental Home Heat Pump Program. And the bill appropriated $15 million for the program, which will provide rebates and grants for the purchase and installation of heat pumps and related upgrades in rental homes. This program is not as a result of the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, and we do not yet know the timeline and details for the federal programs laid out in that act. So the rebates will be applied for and claimed by a contractor who will pass on the full value of the rebate to the client through a reduction in the price. Contractors must be approved as eligible for the program prior to applying to reserve a rebate. To be eligible, the contractor must hold any license, bond, insurance, or permit required to sell and install a heat pump. They must have an active license with the Construction Contractors Board and have no disciplinary actions within the past 2 years. If applicable, the contractors must hold workers' compensation insurance coverage and not have been issued a non-complying employer order in the past 2 years. The contractors must have no occupational safety and health division violations in the past 2 years. And additionally, the contractors must have no final audit determinations from the Labor Commissioner in the past 2 years and be absent from a list maintained by the Bureau of Labor and Industries of contractors that are ineligible to receive public works contracts. There are a number of program requirements. The contractor must apply for the rebate prior to installing the heat pump, which means that the program will not be retroactive. Heat pumps must be installed at and serve either a unit used as a residential tenancy or a manufactured dwelling or recreational vehicle that is located in a rented space in a manufactured dwelling or recreational vehicle park. There are additional requirements around the installation of a heat pump in the draft rules, such as equipment requirements, as well as where and how it can be installed. There are also requirements around equipment and labor warranties. Electrical or mechanical upgrades to facilitate the installation of a heat pump may be eligible for a grant if it is associated with a rebate reservation. The proposed rules establish efficiency requirements for the heat pumps, a baseline Tier 1 efficiency, which is set at the level of the federal standards, and a higher Tier 2 efficiency standard that could make the customer eligible for a higher level of financial assistance. The maximum rebate and grant amounts able to be awarded per dwelling are also established in rule. These differ between residential tenancies and manufactured homes and recreational vehicles. Additionally, there are higher incentive levels when the heat pumps are being installed to benefit low or moderate income tenants, which is what the LMI acronym refers to in the tables. Just pause a second, as there's quite a bit of detail on the slide. Eligibility for the low or moderate income rebate level can be determined in a number of ways, either through a tax transcript, through eligibility for the SNAP, Medicaid, or CHIP programs, or if the owner of rental housing is eligible for one of a list of programs detailed in the rules that is administered by Oregon Housing Community Services. The proposed rules also outline information relating to the reservation application, the reservation process, amendments including reservation extensions, and rebate and grant requests. The rules also outline how funding will be allocated, inspection and audit processes, and reasons the Oregon Department of Energy may deny or revoke a contractor's eligibility to claim a rebate. The Oregon Department of Energy appreciates the information and feedback that stakeholders have provided through the rulemaking process. Notice for today's hearing was filed with the Oregon Secretary of State on November 29, 2022, and published in the December 2022 Oregon Bulletin. This hearing will be conducted according to the Oregon Administrative Procedures Act, ORS Chapter 183, and the Attorney General's Model Rules. In addition to the opportunity to present oral comments this hearing, anyone may submit written comments by email or mail until 5 p.m. January 6, 2023, which is tomorrow at 5 p.m. This is the close of the public comment period for everyone. Comments received after this date will not be reviewed or considered by the department unless the department decides to extend the public comment period for everyone. After the close of the comment period, the Oregon Department of Energy will review issues raised during the public comment period and prepare a hearing officer's report. The Oregon Department of Energy will make the ultimate decision regarding these rules. If anyone has joined since the beginning and hasn't introduced themselves, I would like to ask you to please state your name, affiliated organization, whether you wish to offer comments. Then we will move into the testimony period for participants. As a reminder, this hearing is being recorded to maintain a permanent record. Before beginning your testimony, I'd ask you to please state your name and affiliation with an organization, if any, for the record. If you have written comments, please email them so they may be part of the record. Does anybody have any questions before we begin with comments? I'm happy to answer questions. If you do, feel free to drop questions in the chat or to raise your hand. Again, that's *3 for phone users. Okay, I'm not seeing any raised hands or questions in the chat. So we will begin the public comment section now. And could I ask David Harris to begin with their testimony? If we give a moment, Patricia, if you could unmute. Thank you very much. David, you should now be unmuted.
Thank you, James. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, this is David Harris at Springfield Utility Board, Manager of Energy and Conservation Services. I would request that the rules include something to the effect of the following. Require by rule that Oregon Department of Energy and/or the contractor notify the appropriate electric utility of each individual heat pump installation address within their service territory no later than 3 business days after the individual installation. And I'm happy to submit that by email.
I'm glad we are recording it, so we'll have a recording of it. But if you wish to submit it by email, feel free. I'm happy to accept it in an email as well.
Okay, thank you, James.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have Jeremy Anderson. Patricia, do you mind taking Jeremy off mute, please? Jeremy, you should be off mute now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Jeremy Anderson with Total Comfort Weatherization. I previously submitted some written comments, but just want to talk about 4 quick points. First, under definitions, it'd be very nice if we could have a definition of a rental tenancy that would address situations like rental ADUs, vacation rentals, rooms rented within an existing owner-occupied structure, that type of thing. Just so that there's quite a bit of clarity on which properties would be allowed and which are not. Second, under rebate amounts, it appears that the contractor may be required to provide an estimate, or I guess to provide the amount of tax credits that a customer may receive. I can tell you that as contractors, we are not competent to provide that, either from finding out what they may be eligible for or what they could actually use. So I'd like to have that either removed, or at least have a note that the contractor wouldn't be responsible of getting that wrong. Third, and this is perhaps one of the most important things under the low or moderate income eligibility, we need to have a way for rental homeowners or tenants to be able to submit their income qualifications directly to the department, or at least not have contractors involved. We need to not be handling people's tax records, that type of thing. And so we'll need to have a nice, clean, simple way for homeowners to do that, and especially tenants, where it will be even more challenging. Alternatively, as a much better solution, if you can, if you do a self-certification of income, the Energy Trust Savings Within Reach has been using this for quite a number of years and has worked out very well. It removes the liability of us handling other people's tax records while allowing us to kind of cleanly and easily handle their paperwork for them. And the last kind of major concern we have under the rebate and grant request, looks like we as contractors would be required to calculate energy savings. This is a very complicated and probably in many ways impossible thing to accomplish. So ideally we would have this requirement removed. Otherwise we need very clear instructions on exactly what methodology you would like us to use to calculate energy savings. And hopefully that's something that won't be too onerous. So I think those are my comments, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Really appreciate those comments. I'm just taking a few notes, and we have it recorded for the record, so I can ensure they're accurate. Just looking to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I don't see any additional. Thomas, thank you. You should be unmuted now.
Yeah, I would just like to echo what David said as far as notifying utilities. I'm not as specific as the time frame, although a time frame within a certain time frame is I do think is a good idea. But I do believe that utilities should be notified. And then I actually have a quick question, maybe before I offer additional testimony, a point of clarification. The purchase price, you know, how the grant amounts are capped at a percentage of the purchase price. Is that including a potential utility rebate? I would love to be able to stack these and not, in a sense, penalize the contractor or something like that, so that way we can add on to these rebates and really help get these systems out there.
So we've got a definition in the draft rules of purchase price, which is the cost to purchase and install a heat pump before considering the incentives.
Okay.
So it would not. So with the idea that they could be stacked.
Great. No further testimony then. Thank you.
I would add that obviously we're unable to kind of exceed 100% of the costs. So we would obviously need to consider incentives in there, but yeah. Anyway, thank you for that. And are there anybody else that wishes to provide comments? So please raise your hand. Again, it's *3 for anybody on the phone. I don't think we have anybody on the phone at this point now. And if you'd rather drop something in the chat, we can bring you off mute as well. Just going back through the chat to make sure I have not missed anybody. Okay, there's no one coming with their raised hands or comments in the chat, so I will move on. Thank you for those who've provided comment. So thank you to all attendees as well. As a reminder, written testimony will be accepted until 5 p.m. January 6th, 2023. That's tomorrow. No other comments or exhibits will be accepted after this date unless the department decides to extend the public comment period for everyone. After the close of the comment period, the department will review all comments and summarize all comments in a hearing officer's report. The Oregon Department of Energy will make the ultimate decision regarding these rules. Before we conclude, I can answer any rulemaking process questions. I'll give anybody a moment to put a question in the chat. When do you anticipate having the rules finalized? Not able to give a kind of time limit at this point. Hoping soon. We're hoping again to get these kind of operational, these programs operational. We're currently building the application systems to accept applications. And so once we get the rules finalized, we'll be able to finalize the systems by which we can accept applications by contractors. And then we'll be able to roll out the programs at that point. Obviously, the goal is to have them operational so that people can kind of get heat pumps installed by the cooling season, so the summer. But obviously, we're on to get them up and running ahead of that. So, but beyond that, I'm unable to provide kind of a more precise date. Hope that provides some information now. Is there any additional questions? So just give people an opportunity. Okay, I'm not seeing any. So the time is 3:27. Thank you for coming and providing comments today. This concludes the public hearing for today, and thank you very much. This is the end of the hearing.